Hey everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of Car Talk, where I talk about anything and everything related to cars with a slight focus on the design, of course. As some of you may know, I grew up in Stockholm, Sweden, or as some may know it as wagon country. We absolutely love our wagons. 60, 70, maybe 80% of all the cars in the 90s in Sweden were wagons. I believe accurate number is somewhere around 98.2%, with the occasional Volvo 240 sliding around in the snow. We had a lot of fun doing that, by the way. Good times. Why do we love them so much? They're practical and convenient and still feels like a regular car to drive. You get the space of an SUV without the boring driving experience of an SUV. And today, we even have a few wagons that can outperform a lot of exotics. What's not to love? So if you can't tell, wagons have a special place in my heart. However, ever since I moved to the States 8 years ago, I've almost forgotten about the wagons. Every time I see a Volvo V90 out on the roads here, they look strange. It's like I've gotten unused to seeing wagons, and that is not okay. Another thing is, for some reason, Americans seem to don't like wagons, and as a result, manufacturers are hesitant to ship their station wagons over here to be sold. There are still a few of them being sold here in the United States, and in this video, I'm going to list my top 5 wagons that are currently on sale today in the United States. I'm also going to list a few wagons I wish were sold here so that Americans could experience what they're missing out on. Price is less of a factor in this list. Instead, I'm going to focus on something so much more vital: the design. Of course, I had to pick the Volvo V90 as a top number 1 on this list. How can you blame me? It's not like you didn't see this one coming. I grew up in Sweden with Volvo station wagons and Saab station wagons all around me. I don't know the exact number, but it honestly felt like there were more station wagons than regular cars growing up. SUVs were absolutely nowhere to be seen in the 90s in Sweden, and there are very, very few cars that look better in wagon form than they do as sedans. With the Volvo V90, the wagon is an absolute masterpiece. It's sleek, simple, functional, dynamic, gorgeous Scandinavian design mixed with the Thor's hammer lights in the front and the shoulder line that goes on for miles. To me, is without a doubt the best looking wagon on the market today. And with the inscription trim level wheels in dark gray, it's like an athlete dressed up for a press conference in a tailored suit. Elegant and graceful on the outside with a powerful, high-performing inside. Now, you can get the V90 with the R design package with different bumpers and wheels, but I don't know. I think I prefer the inscription trim level. It's too clean and too beautiful, and I don't want anything extra added to that design. The Volvo V90 starts at $52,500 for the T5R design with 250 horsepower 4-cylinder, and tops out at $60,500 for the T6 inscription model with 316 horsepower. This is still the same engine you get in the T5, but in the T6 it's both turbo and supercharged. Number 2 on the list is the Audi RS6. This to me is kind of the bodybuilder of the group. It's angry, it doesn't play around, and it will leave many exotics behind, not only in a straight line, but on the track as well. Audi to me has stepped up their design game lately. There was a decade or so where they were extremely boring looking, with every new car being just a smaller or bigger version of an already existing one. Very predictable design that didn't excite anyone. Now, Audi still has a very, very strong brand identity, or you can say a very strong similarity in their cars, but they're starting to get experimental with their approach, especially in the coming EV market. When I think of Audi, I think of light design. They've always been in the forefront when it comes to lighting technology. The RS6 looks almost like it's been sent to an external tuning shop and been designed for the German DTM racing series. Personally, I prefer the blacked out trim compared to the silver detail. I think that brings the car together more effectively graphically. The Audi RS6 goes on sale this spring 2020 with a base price around $115,000. For that you get Audi's twin turbo 4-liter V8 engine making 591 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. Number 3 on the list is the Mercedes E63 AMG Estate, the ultimate German Autobahn cruiser. Endless torque, effortless 155 miles per hour pace for hours in complete comfort. This being an estate, it's perfect for long road trips, and you can even bring the entire family along. However, this is not one of these rare wagons that look better than their sedan counterparts. I'm not a huge fan of the rear end design of this E63 AMG Estate. I think the rear lights, they sit too narrow to each other and it looks cramped. The rear end also has this constant slope to it, and it continues all the way down to the exhaust pipes and never really folds back in and wraps the back together, if that makes sense, making it look like it has a kind of a severe underbite. But I'm still a fan of the E63 Estate, and I respect Mercedes for bringing it to the American market, even though the sales numbers are nowhere near that of the sedan. The Mercedes E63 AMG Estate starts at around $113,000 and comes with one of the best sounding engines ever built, the 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, twin-turbo 4-liter V8. Number 4 on the list is the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo. So I'm gonna be completely honest here. I've never been a fan of the Porsche Panamera. I think it looks like Mr. Burns' head in a side view. The design feels too reliant on the 911. It's like as if deep inside it really wants to be a 911, but kind of reluctantly forced to add another pair of doors. However, the Sport Turismo, as they call the wagon Panamera, kind of solves this problem in a way. The reason being, with the wagon design, it takes another step further away from the 911 and becomes its own model. I feel this is what it should have been from the start, more defined in its own segment and not as a stretched out 911. The Sport Turismo looks better than the regular Panamera, but don't get me wrong, it's still the least attractive design in this field. The Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo starts at under $100,000, but it can be doubled depending on what version you choose to buy, all the way from the base 4 with 330 horsepower up to the top level 193,000 Turbo SE Hybrid that puts out a massive 667 horsepower. Number 5 on this list is kind of a surprise. I've never seen this car out in the wild, but I have to say, the Jaguar XF Sportbrake is a sleek looking wagon and fits into the rare category of cars where it's better looking than its sedan. The XF sedan to me looks too plain, too average to be a Jaguar, but the Sportbrake brings back the traditional combination of sporty elegance that Jaguar is known for. And this model will not be around for long, since Jaguar has announced that they will take it off the US market in 2021. So if you want one, now is the time to get one. The Jaguar XF Sportbrake starts at $66,000 and is powered by a turbocharged 4-cylinder making 296 horsepower, or you can have it with a supercharged V6 with 380 horsepower for an additional $7,000. I think that is a pretty good value. So that was my top 5 list of wagons that are currently sold in the United States, but I also have 3 wagons that I really wish were sold here as well. And the first one being the Audi RS4 Avant. Yes, the Audi RS6 Avant is coming to the United States this spring, and that's great. I'd love to see more performance wagons find their way over here to compete with the SUV madness that is currently going on in the United States. And this is what brings me to the Audi RS4. RS4. Personally, I would choose this smaller version over the RS6 because Audi has such a great history with smaller, high-performing wagons, starting with the legendary RS2, which was developed with Porsche, of course. Hopefully, the RS6 will sell well here and make Audi change their minds about bringing the RS4 here too, but for now, it stays off the American roads. A shame. The second car on this want over to the US list is the BMW 3 Series Touring. Over 1.7 million 3 Series Tourings have been sold since its introduction in 1987. When car makers turn a sedan into a wagon, usually what gets lost is the sleek proportions of the car. In this case, with the 2020 3 Series Touring, I think they did a fantastic job. What I like about the rear end design of this car is the concave space in the middle of it. The top line of the bumper is mirrored in the line that's the integrated ducktail, and this creates a nice dip in the body where the taillight sits. What I would really love to see is an M3 wagon, because who doesn't like more power and better performance? Great design, but for the first time since the E46 generation in the 1990s, the 2020 3 Series wagon won't be coming to the United States. A shame. The third and final wagon on my list of cars that I want to see sold here is the Mercedes C63 AMG estate. All German cars, and the C63S is powered by a twin-turbo 503 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque V8, an engine we're familiar with in cars such as the AMG GT, the E63 as well, the S63, and with a slightly different tuning, it's also available in the Aston Martin Vantage. Mercedes still sells the E63 AMG, which we talked about earlier, here in the US, but have decided to not bring the smaller, more nimble sibling over the Atlantic. A shame. And that's my top 5 list of wagons currently being on sale in the US. Let me know what your top 5 list is in the comments below, and while you're at it, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will see you in the next one. Take care.